Welcome to the Wealth Matters podcast, where investors come together to better understand how to build passive cash flow and create generational wealth without all the confusing mumbo-jumbo. Here's your host and co-author of Amazon #1 bestseller, Alpesh Pamar.
Welcome to Wealth Matters podcast. We are going to talk to Raul Bolufe. He's based out of Miami, Florida, and we're just talking about the market as well. Just 7 years ago, in 2012 or 13, he quit his job in a thriving family business, moved back with his mom to chase a goal. So we'll talk about this goal, which I think is real estate, of course. And we'll talk about how he got there and how he built this business where he's wholesaling as $12 million worth of real estate every year. Plus he's building a pretty solid cash flowing real estate business. So welcome, Raul.
How you doing, man? Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. Thank you. Tell us something interesting or funny about yourself.
Funny. So my first job ever was as a lifeguard in a pool.
Not even at the ocean.
No, not even the ocean. And it wasn't even like the nice pool. It was like one of those pools that like nobody goes to.
Yeah. And being in Miami, you had to work at a pool, man.
Yeah, no. I actually applied to work in like one of the nice hotels down here, the Fontainebleau, as a pool lifeguard. And I didn't get the job, and they sent me to like, you know, a backup of a backup pool. So that's something pretty similar.
Now you can buy that pool.
Yeah, man. That was good.
So tell us your story. How did you get started with real estate?
Man, I got started, as you mentioned, I used to work in my family's car business, and I learned a lot about sales.
And what was that business? Sorry.
Selling cars.
Selling cars. Okay.
A used car dealer.
Okay.
And you know, my father had bought some real estate always, you know, as he made money in the car business, he would buy real estate. And although I was never involved, I would kind of just like see what was going on. And just meeting people in the car business, like the wealthy people had real estate. And that's all I needed to just get started. And I just found a podcast about, you know, just like anybody else, I Googled how to buy real estate with no money because I had no money. And I came across wholesaling, and I came across like Sean Terry and guys like that. And I started listening to the podcast and the YouTube channel, and that's really how I got started. And my whole goal was to buy a rental property, and then I found wholesaling and I fell in love with it.
Oh, that's interesting. And I think at that time there wasn't much available, right? From education perspective, when you Google it, because I remember I started in 2011, and especially I went full force in 2015, and there was no bigger pockets, no way to just consume, not this kind of podcast and all. So I believe it would have been really difficult for you to get started, but you wanted to get this, right?
Yeah, no, I wanted it more than I could breathe, you know, like I just knew that's what I wanted. Yeah, there wasn't that many guys. It's funny you say that. There wasn't that many platforms like now.
Exactly. Sure. On the flip side, though, I think it's good. There is so much out there right now that people just get stuck in the education mode, right? It's analysis paralysis mode. Oh, I can't do this because Raul did it and he is so successful. If I do this, it will take me another couple of years, right? So they get stuck in the rut.
Absolutely. The good thing about not having so much information is that you can go really deep. Really deep on a podcast or really deep on a YouTube channel, like really study this person or this channel's like philosophy on wholesaling or investing or wealth. And then you can extrapolate all the ideas and actually implement them. Because when you're jumping from channel to channel, everybody's kind of have a different way they teach it or different way they think about the business. But, you know, I had one or two guys I followed, and that was it. And that was
That's
it.
awesome.
You know?
Hey, so how do you compare the selling car business with real estate? What were some of the qualities you were able to transfer from your family business into real estate?
I think it was the communication from, you know, people to people, from myself to sellers, myself to buyers, myself to, you know, whomever else. I think the communication, the sales aspect, and also the work ethic. I mean, in a car business, your work ethic's got to be pretty high. It's like a Monday through Sunday type of business.
Right.
You got to be in there. So when I was used to it. Like since I was 16, I started working in the car business. I was pretty used to working there on the weekends, all
Right.
day. Thanksgiving, I was working. So then when I would see other my peers in wholesaling like kind of chilling on weekends and stuff, I'm like, this why are you doing? That's weird. So I think those are some of the similarities. It's like between the sales, communication, and the work ethic that really translated a lot into my wholesale business.
Right. And especially because, I do buy and hold. I love real rental side, right? I don't do wholesale because that's not my forte. But one thing I may be wrong as well, but you are buying and selling car the same way you are buying and selling a contract in wholesale side, right? So
Yeah,
makes it easier for you to transfer that knowledge or
yeah,
that
yeah.
characteristics.
It's a good point. I remember when I was maybe like 18 or 19 was when I first started like selling cars, like being put into the fire. And I remember I had to sit in front of in a desk in front of my client
Client,
and not
yeah.
over the phone, right? It was like
Right.
belly to belly and doing that for the first time and then getting used to that, doing that 3 times, 10 times, 100 times. That helped open me up so much. So when I went to my first appointment, seller appointment for a house, or I had my first phone appointment with a homeowner, like it almost felt easy because I was forced in these situations in the car business. And that definitely helped. That definitely helped.
No, that's awesome. So what kind of assets do you own right now and why?
So residential is all we own from single family to fourplexes. We pretty
Okay.
much have a little bit of everything. I have fourplex, triplex, duplexes, single families. So why? Mainly because that's what my wholesale business produces.
Okay.
So I buy the properties from my own wholesale business. So as long as they're producing deeply discounted off market residential real estate, that's what I'm going to keep buying. Um, and yeah, that's why I really like to in the residential side that you can put 30-year fixed mortgages on there.
Right.
With commercial real estate, you have like repricing every 5 years.
Yep. And then recourse loan.
It's got its pros and cons. Don't get me
Yeah,
wrong
yeah,
at
both
all.
sides. But I love, so I
Yeah,
do commercial real estate, right? So
yeah,
I love it, and because it's diversification, scaling up, all that. So both sides have pros and cons. But you got to, I would say, stay in your lane, right? If you understand
right.
this lane, why even bother, right?
Exactly. Like for me
And
to
are
find
these assets in Miami area or all over the country?
no, basically all over, mainly in Miami, and then um, it's all in Florida. My
Okay,
portfolio is all in Florida, but mainly in South Florida.
got it. No,
Yeah.
that's pretty interesting. So let's talk about because I saw that you spoke about cash flowing real estate business. So how did you build a successful real estate business which is cash flowing, right, constantly?
Yeah. So one of the dreams I think for a lot of people when they start in real estate is number one, to create wealth, and number two, to create passive income. You
Yes.
hear that term a lot. And as I kept going, I started listening to some of my mentors, and they're like, "Hey, passive income does not always have to be from real estate. You can make a business passive. You can make income that way passive." Um, so as I kept thinking, as I kept growing the wholesale business, my goal was to get a team to do the acquisitions, to find the houses, to do a marketing team, acquisitions team, sales team, so they could do a lot of the heavy lifting, make a ton of money themselves, but also make it very passive and cash flowing for me, so that I could take that money and then invest in assets, invest in other companies, invest in things like that. So that it's taken years in teams and hiring and firing and going through ups and downs and in and outs and black and white, and you can imagine. So it's not perfect by any means. But yeah, that's kind of how I was able to. That was my mindset behind it, and then just do a lot of trial and error and being there. I mean, I'm still here around, but overall, the business is pretty passive for me at this point.
So how many team members do you have right now? And who was the first, or which position did you hire the very first time? Like, I'm pretty sure as an entrepreneur like you and I, we wear multiple hats and we do everything, right? And then you decide, okay, this is the mundane thing. I need to hire someone.
Oh, a personal assistant was the first thing I
Me
hired.
too. Yeah.
The emails, the spreadsheets, the
Yeah.
all that. And that was the first thing I hired, and then I quickly hired 2 acquisitions
Okay.
agents or salespeople to help me, speak to, at that time, it'll speak to realtors and get deals under contract and stuff.
I see. So how many people do you have now?
Now, between virtual assistants and people in the office, about 20 people.
Okay. So I was going there. So how many do you have onshore or in the office, or and how many out of country maybe, or remote?
Onshore, we have 14
Oh,
in our
wow.
office,
Okay.
and then six VAs, between texting, personal assistant, virtual assistant for dispositions, another assistant, things like that, all on the virtual side.
Nice, nice. So yeah, I can tell it's pretty cool, man. 14 people on in office. So how much work do you have to put in now?
That's a good question. I mean, so it depends. At this point, like I'm driving the company to make more revenue. So I would say if I had to put like a time, maybe that I really have to put in, probably maybe 5 to 8 hours a week.
That's awesome.
And then, but I'm putting in about 15 to 20 because we're really trying to drive the,
Yes.
um, if I wanted to remain at constant, very little, maybe 5 to 8 hours a week. But since we're trying to hit these massive goals, I put my foot on the gas in there a little bit, kind of
Right.
rough.
And yeah, so I think you must have read the book 4 Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss.
Oh yeah, it's a
It's
good
it's
book.
it's a great book. But I'm glad that you brought up that point. If you want to stay at that level, you can just stay where you are. But as a CEO, you also want to drive, right? Take the company or the business to the next level. So what are now your uh, what do you actually do now? So I'm pretty sure you have acquisition team, disposition team. So what do you do as a CEO?
So I'm in the daily huddles every morning, kind of just helping drive it. I don't run it, but I'm there to help answer questions. So we do like a 15-minute meeting every morning with the full sales team. I'm in a 90-minute meeting every week with my leadership team. And then I'm in recruiting meetings. So that's the reason I'm spending more hours in the wholesale business now is we're making a big push for recruiting to hire more salespeople, hire more positions people. So we hired an in-house recruiter and I'm kind of training him. I'm involved in his meetings. I'm involved in his interviews. And then I meet with other key people on our team to help mainly with systems and tech that we're trying to build out for the team.
Systems,
So
processes, yeah.
hey, these are the numbers we need. Okay, let's meet about this. Okay, the spreadsheet's incorrect. How can we correct it? Oh, you need automation. Okay, let me connect you with my girl. Okay, great. Now let me join that meeting so I can tell you exactly what I want. Oh, okay, we need to now talk to like that kind of stuff.
No, that's awesome. So, and how long did it take you to build this business? And means at this stage where you are only able to, when you only need to put 5 to 8 hours a week, right? So how long did it take you
Ooh,
to get from
years. I mean,
zero to?
this probably maybe the last like year or so it's been like that. So
Oh, okay.
let's say 6 7 years really just like of, and I haven't really deviated much. I've been doing wholesale real estate since I started. I do some flips and I have rentals and stuff, but I don't venture off too far. I don't really get into any, not that anything is bad, but I don't venture off in different businesses. I don't get into
Right.
e-commerce, Amazon. Like I've just been wholesale real estate for the last 7 years, like blinders on that this is what I've been doing.
So what do you think? This is another question not related to business. What do you think is the market headed now? Because we have seen everywhere, San Francisco Bay Area to Austin, Texas to, Florida, pretty much every market in Florida has been too hot, too frothy. Everyone keeps talking about we have hit the peak. Where do you think we are headed?
Yeah, so that's a really good question.
Yeah, difficult one.
Yeah, it's a different one. So San Francisco is another crazy market too. I mean, California in general.
Yeah.
Obviously the supply and demand curve, it's very hard to deny that simple economic
Yes.
factor of less supply, more demand equals different pricing. That's very aggressive. I definitely think the Fed is going to do anything they can to stabilize this train. Therefore, I think we're going to a more stable market, meaning, we're not going to have 40K over asking price that much longer than we are. I would say by the end of the year, things will get pretty stable. I don't think the prices are going to drop or anything. I just think it's going to be the supply and demand's going to try and get more equal. Try and get more equal.
I see.
It won't be as crazy. Those are my thoughts. But I don't think real estate's going to slow down per se. I think rents will go up. As interest rates go up, I think rents will go up with it. And
Oh yeah, investors have to make money, right? If interest rates go up, they got to
I think
keep
a
up.
lot of these hedge funds are buying a ton of single families and stuff.
Oh
And
yeah.
it's gonna it'll make a little dent into the market, but man, I don't think it's gonna slow down that crazy. But I do think that the Fed is gonna pump the brakes on how
Yeah,
things are getting so crazy.
they have to. They were
Yeah,
the one who put the fuel in the train, right? They made
exactly.
sure it was the super fast train.
Yeah, I
No,
mean, they
that's
did the
interesting.
best they could. They did the
Yeah,
best they could given what they had. And honestly, I don't think it was they've made obviously there's a lot of opinions in politics. I'm not trying to get in there, but I don't think they made poor decisions when it comes to the housing market. I just think that it got out of their hands so fast. And
yeah,
then now they're really trying to like interest rates, okay, supply, okay, this, okay, that.
yeah.
And I think they'll succeed. Eventually, they're gonna stabilize this
Yeah,
thing.
yeah. Let's see where it's going, man. Yeah, you said 40K, and I was laughing. I was here. It's 400K above asking. It's not four. So that's
Uh,
why I think it has to. In some markets, it's got to correct, but you never know.
yeah.
So another question I have, because you said that at the very first time when you got started, you were looking at how to buy, real estate with no money down. So tell us how to buy real estate with no money out of your pocket.
Simple. You go and steal it. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
no, so yeah, I mean that no money down Google search is what led me into wholesaling. And what wholesaling is just finding a property or finding a homeowner or a seller that is kind of distressed and wants to sell quickly, wants cash, maybe just got divorced, maybe they have a lot of repairs they can't afford, maybe they're moving out of town, they gotta sell quick. Finding one of these homeowners, finding one of these properties, and just making a cash offer and getting it on paper, getting under contract. You don't need any money for that. You don't need any license for that. You just need to be a home buyer, right? Which requires no license. So you find this person, you negotiate. It's the house is worth 500. You get under contract for 250. It needs a bunch of work, and then you put that piece of paper. And now you go out and you tell a bunch of buyers and people, cash buyers, home flippers, and say, "Hey, do you want to buy this house for 270?" And some will say yes, and then you sell it, and you make $20,000 essentially with no money down. Um, that's the theory behind it. That's what got me started. Um, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of other ways to do it,
Right.
but that's the way that I learned it in the beginning.
That's awesome. So then another question I have and about your wholesale business, and you said that you also have rentals. Is there a conflict of interest when a deal comes by that, oh, you want this now instead of giving it to someone else because the
I
deal
love
is
that.
will work the best if it's with
Yeah.
you.
No, that's a real question though. Like I'm actually glad you brought that up. So yes, there is a conflict of interest, but the way we've been able to solve that is that we have two entities. So let's say you're a wholesaler, even if you're by yourself, you're a one-man show, or whether you have a team or not. What we do in our business is, let's say a wholesale deal comes in from our wholesale business. Just for simple math, let's say our wholesale business gets it at 200,000.
Right.
But let's say in a wholesale, a buyer's willing to pay 230,000 for this house.
Right.
So it's not fair for me, the owner, to buy it for 200. And
Right.
So what I do is I just buy it for 230.
I see.
So 30,000 goes to my wholesale business,
Yep.
which I'm part of. And then I get the house for 230. So it's fair for both parties.
Yeah.
Everybody wins.
Yeah, and then you got to cover the salaries of everyone on the wholesale side, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you keep buying those deals at the same price you paid for, then you are not going to have that business around for a
Yeah.
long time.
Believe me, it hurt me the first time that I had to do this transaction. It was
Okay.
painful because I was a one-man show for a while, and I was like, I'd get under contract for 200, I'd buy it for 200 because it's my own thing. But then
Right.
when you got to pay commissions and you got people and you got marketing and overhead,
Right.
and then it hurt me. But now everyone knows that there's no conflict of interest, so
No,
they
that's
don't care if I buy
awesome.
a house or not. And now they're excited to get another 15 deals. And now I have another 15 opportunities to look at than just one.
Right. No, that's awesome.
Yeah.
What are some of your favorite real estate markets right now?
I love, so it depends for what, but I'll give you like my feedback.
Okay.
I love Miami and Broward County specifically for short-term rentals.
Oh, really? Okay.
I like Dade and Broward for short-term rentals. I like Central Florida for long-term rentals.
Okay.
Orlando, Lakeland, the west of the East Coast, so anywhere from Palm Bay, which is East Coast, West Coast is Cape Coral. Like I like those pockets for long-term rentals, right. Houses. There's great type of tenants. I like Atlanta, Georgia for flips and rentals.
Okay. Yeah, Atlanta is awesome.
Yeah, we love Savannah, Georgia. For wholesaling, Florida and Georgia have been our most profitable states. Vegas and Arizona are probably a close second place for wholesaling. And those are also good states for flips. I just haven't personally done flips there, but yeah, those are the best states. Also, Austin, Texas and Dallas, Texas are great for wholesale and flips as well. So those are just to name a few of the markets that we're in and conducting the most amount of business we can.
Yeah, and you picked the top 10 hottest markets, right? From Atlanta, which is one of my favorite, Austin, Dallas, Miami, Orlando. Yeah. Of course, you missed North Carolina, Raleigh, Durham and all, but most of these markets, you see a lot of inbound migration, crazy job growth, right? So of course, these are the markets right now, which are pretty strong. Hey, let's talk about the deal. What has been your best deal so far?
Best deal so far? Probably the second rental I ever bought was my best deal so far. So I actually bought it from another wholesaler. There's a little house in Miami, Florida that I bought like back in 2014, I believe. It was for $47,000. It's a three bed, one bath, concrete house in Miami. And it had like a bunch of violations. But I was so naive and dumb. I thought I didn't even know like what violation was. Okay. This was like, right. So I bought it. And actually, I ended up getting with a contractor, and for like 20 grand, he fixed up the house and fixed the violation.
Okay.
I was in this house for 67,000, and then I rented it for like 1,100 a month.
Oh, wow. Nice.
After like a year, I refinanced it, got all my money back plus the 20K cash. Then I refinanced it again recently and got another $90,000 cash back.
Oh my God.
Plus now it's rented for $1,600. So it's like this house has given me infinite returns. And I've always made a very healthy cash flow with it. So it's such a small deal, but that's the one that comes to mind because I don't know, I bought it so long ago, not knowing what I was doing, and it's made me more cash than I could even think of, which is crazy.
Man, I'm glad that you brought up that deal, because a lot of time I ask this question and people will bring their millions of dollars deal and blah, but this is just to show that the no deal is small, right? I mean, you never know what that deal could do for you, right? And this is amazing that from 67 grand, you have already got paid back over 100 grand. Plus you are still getting paid from the rent. So it's amazing. And I have one of those deals which I bought from wholesaler, and it just worked out the same way. Even though I knew some, but it was in a market which it's still in Atlanta market, right? So it's out of state for me. So renovating and all on my own first time, and it just worked out so well. I'm pretty much, I have, I think about 30-40K left in it, but it's been, I think the rent will cover it in one more year.
That's awesome, man. I love little deals too, man. I mean, it's nice.
Yeah, you never know. That's why I keep telling everyone, don't try to find that blockbuster or perfect deal. Just find a deal which makes sense, and from the deal from which you can learn.
Yeah, that's how I saw that one when I was going in, and it ended up being like a huge cash cow. Even like a $40,000 house paid me, over 120 grand in dividends. Like who would have thought?
Nice. What has been your worst deal?
Ooh, the worst deal. That one I remember. So I bought a deal that was a foreclosure. It was in a nice area here in South Florida. This was maybe like 4 years ago. So I was still kind of green. And it had liens also. It was like
No.
it was in a great part here, and it was deeply discounted. But man, those liens I could not solve. We got like 3 people to try to help us. Everybody took our money and kind of like no one helped.
Oh man.
And we lost like about 105K on that deal.
Wow.
Within a year. It was
So what did you learn from that deal?
I learned to put my ego aside and stop thinking I know everything.
Right.
I was like 24 years old, so I thought I knew everything. So, and I would say the liens, be very careful when you're going to buy with liens, like do your due diligence, find a professional that if you're not the professional with liens or dealing with the city, find someone that is, and actually get like a very clear and concise action plan before you buy this house. Like, hey, Alpesh, if you buy this house with liens, then this is exactly what it's going to take. It's going to take, you need to do this, 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 and this. It's going to take this amount of time and this amount of money. And if you agree with that, then you can buy it. That would be like one of the learning lessons I got.
That's awesome, Raul. Thank you so much for sharing all these golden nuggets.
You're listening to the Wealth Matters Podcast. The Wealth Matters Podcast. For more info about what we do, check us out at wealthmatters.com. It's wealth, WEALTH, matters, MATRS.com.
We'll go to the last portion of our show. Are you ready for 5 round?
I'm ready.
Okay. Would you be changing any business or investment strategy after this pandemic is over? And I hope it's over.
Ooh, in my mind, it's kind of been over. Basically, no, I'm still going to be
in Miami. It's over.
Yeah, never begun. Basically, no, I'm not going to be changing my investment strategy. I'm going to be doing the same. I'll be buying residential real estate, and I'm going to be getting 30-year fixed mortgages on it, keeping them as long-term or short-term rentals.
Awesome. Favorite real estate or finance or any other related book?
Real estate or finance or any related book. I love Think and Grow Rich.
Oh, yes.
Classic.
It's a classic.
And I like Principles by Ray Dalio.
Principle. Oh, yes. Yes.
Yeah.
It's a great book. Any tool or website you recommend or you cannot live without? Maybe it's for your business, automation, or some kind of software.
Google Sheets. Google Sheets.
Oh yeah, Google Sheets.
but like a tool website, I would say REI Automator, REIAutomator.com. That's been a great tool for a wholesale business.
That's awesome. Any advice for beginner investors?
Just get started. No more analysis paralysis. Keep it simple. Don't complicate it. Like just get started. If Alpesh is saying, hey, go out and talk to 10 sellers and buy your first rental, go out and talk to 10 freaking sellers. Don't wait, just go and do it.
That's such a great advice. And I would say 75% of my guests have said that take action, go for it, right? It's very important. Thank you for reiterating. How do you give back?
How do I what?
How do you give back?
Oh, give back. So I do some free events here in South Florida for real estate investors, all for free. And I just show people how to get your first deal. And I don't ask for any money. I don't sell any products or courses ever. So I give back that way. And I'm also I'm also associated with some foster homes down here. And I give back like that as well.
That's awesome. How can my listeners reach out to you?
Your listeners can reach out to me anytime. I'm on YouTube. My name is Raul Bolufe on YouTube, or you can reach out to me directly on Instagram. You can direct message me. And my Instagram name is also my name, Raul Bolufe. Very simple. RAULBOLUF as in Frank E. RAULBOLUFE.
Thank you so much, Raul, man. This was fun.
Yeah, this is really cool, man. I appreciate you having me on.
Absolutely.
Thanks for listening to the Wealth Matters podcast. If you enjoyed it, please leave us a 5-star rating on iTunes so others can enjoy the show too. Have a great week and happy investing!